Life often presents us with puzzles that challenge our understanding, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. There are moments that feel divinely orchestrated, moments where you encounter someone who resonates deeply with your spirit, someone who feels like they could potentially be the right person. Yet, alongside this profound connection, there can be a bewildering sense that the timing is utterly, unequivocally wrong. Perhaps one of you is navigating a significant life change, healing from past wounds, pursuing distant goals, or simply not in a place emotionally or spiritually to enter a committed relationship. This juxtaposition of finding someone who feels so right, precisely when life feels so misaligned for a union, can be one of the most confusing and even painful experiences we face. It leaves us questioning, wondering, and sometimes feeling deeply frustrated. It begs the question, if they feel so right, why does the timing feel so wrong? It's easy in these moments to fall into despair, to wonder if you've missed an opportunity, if God is withholding something good, or if you're simply mistaken about the person's significance. The world often tells us to seize the moment, to make things happen, to force timing to align with our desires. But as people of faith, we are called to see life through a different lens, the lens of divine sovereignty and perfect timing. When we meet the right person, wrong time, it's not necessarily a cruel twist of fate or a sign that this person is not meant for you at all. Instead, it can be a powerful indicator of the Series divine interventions at work, shaping circumstances for a purpose far grander and wiser than we can currently grasp. Sometimes, God allows these seemingly mismatched moments to unfold in our lives to teach us invaluable lessons. He uses them to cultivate patience in our souls, to spur significant personal growth within us, and most importantly, to deepen our reliance on trusting God's timing in relationships. When the person who feels like the perfect match appears when circumstances scream, "Not now," it's often not a denial of the potential connection, but rather a necessary delay. This delay serves a greater purpose, one that is intricately woven into God's plan for relationships and individual lives. These moments frequently reveal that both individuals involved are still in a process of preparation. God might be preparing your heart, or perhaps preparing theirs, or even preparing the external circumstances for a future reunion or connection that will be stronger and healthier because of this period of waiting and growth. Alternatively, He might be protecting both of you from entering into something prematurely, before either of you are truly ready to honor Him and each other in the context of a relationship. As you navigate this often challenging season of waiting, wondering, and wrestling with questions of relationship timing, take heart. Remember that God's timing relationships is always, without exception, perfect. His perspective is eternal, and His plans are for your ultimate good and His glory. Let's delve deeper into 5 divine interventions that can shed light on why meeting the right person, wrong time might actually be a profound part of God's plan. Understanding these interventions can transform frustration into faith, confusion into clarity, and anxiety into a deeper sense of peace. The first powerful sign of Eris's divine intervention relationship timing is the presence of peace that transcends understanding, particularly when found through prayer concerning this person and situation. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Philippians, provides us with a cornerstone for navigating anxiety. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So Philippians 4:6-7. When you bring the swirling emotions, the confusion about timing, and your hopes concerning this person before God in prayer, and you experience a profound, inexplicable peace settle over your heart. It is not a small thing. This isn't a peace that comes from figuring everything out logically. It's not born from seeing the path forward clearly or having all the answers suddenly click into place. It is a peace that surpasses all understanding, a supernatural calm that descends directly from God. This peace is a powerful reassurance that God is not distant or indifferent. He is intimately involved in your life. He hears your prayers, and He is actively working behind the scenes, even when the external circumstances or the timing of the relationship don't seem to be aligning in the way you desire or expect. Consider Sarah, who met a wonderful Christian man at a conference. They shared similar values, deep conversations, and an undeniable connection. Everything felt right, except he lived in another state, and she was committed to caring for her elderly parents locally for the foreseeable future. The timing seemed impossible. Sarah poured out her heart to God, expressing her confusion and longing. She didn't get a clear sign about whether they would end up together, but every time she prayed about him and the situation, a deep sense of peace would flood her heart. It wasn't a peace that said, "It will definitely work out now," but a peace that said, "I see you, I hear you, I am in control, and I love you." This peace helped her release the anxiety of trying to force the timing or orchestrate circumstances. It allowed her to appreciate the connection without being consumed by the perceived impossibility of the situation. This peace reassured her that God was aware of her heart's desires and had a plan, even if it looked different from her own immediate vision. Feeling this kind of peace after praying about someone is often a profound sign that God has a purpose for this person in your life, even if that purpose is currently unfolding according to His intricate and perfect timeline, rather than your immediate one. It's not a green light to rush forward blindly, but rather a divine whisper encouraging you to rest in His promises and trust His process. This peace guards your heart against discouragement and your mind against obsessive worry. It is a gift designed to help you remain patient, hopeful, and anchored in faith while God aligns the pieces of your life in the way He knows is truly best for you and everyone involved. Keep bringing your feelings, your hopes, and your anxieties about this situation to God in prayer. Thank Him for the person He's brought into your path and for the lessons He is teaching you in this season of waiting or uncertainty. This peace is His way of reminding you that He knows your desires, He is preparing the best possible outcome for you, and He is shaping you through the process. Trusting God's timing in relationships begins with trusting Him in prayer and allowing His peace to be your guide and anchor. This process of continually casting your cares upon Him, fueled by the peace He provides, builds your faith and strengthens your most important relationship, your relationship with Him. It is crucial to understand that this peace doesn't always signify that things will work out exactly as you might picture in your mind, or that this relationship will necessarily happen now, or even later. Instead, it is God's consistent reassurance that He is sovereign, He is deeply caring, and He is actively guiding your steps. His peace confirms His presence and promises, not always the specific outcome you might be hoping for. Continue to seek Him earnestly in prayer, allowing that divine peace to guide your actions, your thoughts, and your decisions regarding this person and the timing. In time, you will look back and see how His plan unfolded, often in ways far more beautiful and aligned with His perfect will than you could have ever orchestrated or even imagined on your own. Through this surrendered process, you also grow closer to God Himself, as you learn to rely on Him as your ultimate source of guidance, security, and fulfillment, rather than placing that burden on another person or a relationship. The waiting period, illuminated by His peace, can deepen your faith in ways that simply would not happen if everything lined up instantly according to your schedule. Let this peace be a constant reminder that God is perpetually working for your good, even when the answers you seek are not immediately clear or the timing feels off. The second divine intervention often at play when you meet the entrancer's right person wrong time is that you are both currently in significant transition periods. The prophet Jeremiah reminds us of God's hopeful promise, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Jeremiah 29:11. God's plans are not just for your destination, but also for the journey and the process of becoming. If you, or the person you've met, or perhaps even both of you, are navigating a season of substantial change, it's a strong indicator that God is actively working in both of your lives, albeit individually, in preparation. Transitions are inherent to life. They can involve major career shifts, moves to new cities, periods of intense spiritual growth, or redirection, seasons of deep emotional healing from past hurts or trauma, or significant personal challenges that require your full attention and energy. These periods of transition are rarely random. They are frequently integral parts of God's plan to refine, shape, and prepare you. God's wisdom dictates that He doesn't want you to attempt to build a significant, potentially lifelong relationship on unstable ground. Entering a deeply connected relationship requires a certain level of emotional, spiritual, and sometimes even practical stability. Instead, He wisely uses these periods of transition to refine and shape you into the person He has called you to be. A person more fully aligned with His character, more grounded in faith, and more prepared to love and be loved in a healthy, God-honoring way. During these transition periods, it is completely natural to feel impatient, to question why things aren't moving forward in the relationship realm, or why the path seems blocked despite the connection you feel. However, Fisirs, trusting God's plan for relationships means wholeheartedly believing that He is orchestrating and aligning everything, including your individual growth and circumstances, at precisely the heir's right timing. Relationships, for your ultimate good, and for the good of a future connection, if that is His will. These transitions often serve as divine opportunities to reveal areas in your life that need attention, healing, or focused development. Perhaps you need to cultivate greater emotional maturity, establish healthier boundaries, deepen your spiritual discipline, or heal from past relationship wounds before you can enter a new one wholeheartedly. Trusting God during this season of transition allows you to focus on this essential personal growth, deepening your relationship with Him and preparing you for a healthier, more resilient relationship in the future. Remember Jeremiah's promise: God's plans are not designed to harm you or frustrate you indefinitely, but rather to give you a hope and a future that is far better and more fulfilling than anything you could try to force into being on your own timeline. This period of individual transition can also be a powerful time of parallel preparation for a stronger and more meaningful relationship down the line. As God works specifically in your life, refining you, and simultaneously works in the life of the other person, refining them, He may be teaching both of you crucial lessons that will be absolutely essential for a future union. These lessons might involve cultivating greater patience with yourself and others, developing self-discipline, learning the depth of forgiveness, understanding true biblical love, or building resilience in the face of challenges. Imagine two people, each needing to learn specific lessons about trust and vulnerability before they could truly open their hearts to one another. God might use separate seasons of transition to instill these very lessons. God's timing is not only perfect, but His transitional periods are also profoundly intentional. While the uncertainty and the feeling of being in between can be uncomfortable, even painful, these seasons are a necessary and valuable part of the process. Embrace the changes that God is bringing about in your life during this time. Trust that He is leading you along a path that is perfectly aligned with His purpose for your life, both individually and potentially in relationship. The waiting may indeed be difficult, testing your patience and faith, but remember that His blessings, when they come, arrive at the perfect time, on a foundation He has carefully prepared. The third divine intervention you might experience when faced with the "there's right person, wrong time" scenario is a palpable peace that comes specifically from choosing to let go of control and handing the situation over to God. The scripture in 1 Peter 5:7 encourages us with the simple yet profound instruction: "Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you." This isn't just a suggestion, it's an invitation to freedom. Letting go of the reins, especially in something as emotionally charged as a potential significant relationship, is rarely easy. Our human nature craves control. We want to understand, to predict, to influence the outcome, to make sure things work out the way we want them to, particularly when someone who feels so right is involved. We might try to strategize, to manipulate circumstances, to worry incessantly, or to force connections that aren't flowing naturally. But when you make the conscious, often difficult, choice to release your grip, to surrender your anxieties, your fears, and your desperate need to control the timing and outcome of this potential relationship to God, something transformative happens. You often experience a deep, abiding peace that cannot be manufactured by human effort. This peace is not merely the absence of worry, it is a positive, reassuring presence that confirms you are placing your trust in the right hands. It is a gift from God, specifically designed to help you rely on Him fully, even when the path ahead is uncertain. As you consciously release your worries and fears about the IR's relationship timings to Him, you find comfort and security in the profound knowledge that He is actively working all things out for your good. Romans 8:2-8. This peace that washes over you when you surrender is a clear, undeniable sign that God is taking the reins, that He is in control, and that He is guiding your life, and potentially this situation, in the best possible direction, according to His perfect will. You might not have any more clarity on how everything will work out, or if this relationship is ultimately part of God's plan for relationships for you. But that lack of intellectual certainty is precisely where faith thrives. God doesn't demand that you possess all the answers or see the entire path ahead. He asks you for your heart, for your willingness to trust Him completely, and let Him lead. This peace serves as a powerful reminder of His unchanging love for you, and the flawless perfection of His plan, even when it feels counterintuitive from your limited perspective. Keep casting as all your cares, every single anxiety, every what if, every fear, onto Him. Do this knowing, with deep conviction, that He cares for you with an immeasurable, perfect love. His peace is the tangible evidence that you are never, ever alone in your waiting, your confusion, or your longing, and that He is always, tirelessly, working on your behalf, orchestrating details you may never even be aware of. When you choose to trusting God's timing in relationships, by letting Him take control, You simultaneously free yourself from the immense burden and exhausting pressure of trying to figure everything out on your own. This liberation allows you to be more fully present in the current season God has you in, focusing on the growth and lessons He is teaching you right now. You can rest in the assurance that God is already handling the future details, the complexities of timing, and the preparation needed. His peace enables you to navigate life's uncertainties with a calmer heart, rooted in the knowledge that He is with you every step of the way, guiding you and protecting you. It is a profound reminder of His unwavering faithfulness. Furthermore, this act of letting God take control is a crucial step in teaching you to rely less on your own limited understanding and more on His infinite wisdom. This deepens your relationship with Him in ways that comfort and control never could. It builds your faith in His promises and character. The peace you feel is not just a pleasant emotion, it is tangible evidence of His active presence in your life, guiding you, comforting you, and protecting you in ways that often operate outside the realm of your immediate perception. This surrender isn't passive resignation, it's active trust, and the peace that follows is a divine confirmation that you are in alignment with His will. The fourth divine intervention that might explain meeting the right person wrong time is God's active protection against distractions that could pull you away from His best will for your life in this season. The psalmist declares, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress and my deliverer, my God is my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold." See Psalm 18:2. God is not only our guide, He is our fierce protector. When the timing for a particular relationship isn't right according to God's perfect plan, He may very well be protecting you. This protection isn't always a dramatic rescue from imminent danger. Sometimes, it's a subtle but firm barrier against entering into something prematurely, something that could ultimately hinder your growth, distract you from your current path or calling, or pull you away from His specific will for your life in this season. This divine protection often manifests in ways that initially feel like setbacks or frustrations, closed doors that refuse to open, delayed plans that seem to stall indefinitely, or even unexpected redirection onto a completely different path. Consider David, who met a woman he was instantly drawn to. She was kind, beautiful, and shared his sense of humor. However, she was heavily involved in pursuits and had beliefs that, while not outwardly bad, were clearly not aligned with the spiritual path David felt God was calling him to focus on intently during this specific period of his life, a season dedicated to ministry training and deep personal spiritual formation. The timing for a deep relationship felt off, requiring compromises that would distract him from his calling. Though it was difficult, David felt a strong internal check and recognized that pursuing this relationship now would be a significant distraction from where God needed him to be. Letting go was painful, but he sensed it was God's protection. Later, he saw how deeply involved the woman was in activities that would have completely derailed his focus during that crucial training period. What felt like wrong timing was God's loving shield, keeping him on the path He had laid out. While these moments of perceived wrong timing or closed doors can feel incredibly frustrating in the moment, they are often profound signs of God's deep love and meticulous care for you. He is shielding you from situations, relationships, or commitments that are simply not aligned with His highest purpose for your life at this time. His protection is not a rejection of you or your desires. Rather, it is a way of ensuring you stay on the path He has sovereignly prepared, a path that will ultimately lead to greater fulfillment and alignment with His will. God's protection in the Aller Sidu right person wrong time scenario helps you remain focused on what truly matters in this particular season of your life. By removing potential distractions, He creates space for you to grow deeper in your relationship with Him, to pursue the calling He has placed on your heart for this time, and to prepare for what lies ahead, which could very well include a future relationship, but one entered into from a place of greater readiness and alignment. When you sense this protective hand at work, whether through delays, closed doors, or a lack of peace about pushing forward, it is a powerful reminder that He is your rock, your stronghold, and your safe refuge. Thus, trusting God's timing in relationships requires believing that He sees what you cannot see, that He knows the potential pitfalls ahead, and that He is actively working to keep you safe and on course for His best. His protection is a tangible demonstration of His faithfulness and His deep, unwavering desire to see you fulfill the specific purpose He has for your life. This protection can sometimes feel like a frustrating barrier, preventing you from having something you deeply desire. But it is, in fact, a safeguard, a loving boundary set by a God who knows the end from the beginning and understands exactly what you need to avoid in order to reach the best possible outcome for your life and for His glory. Embrace His protection, even when it means enduring a season of waiting that feels longer than you'd hoped, or having to walk away from something that, on the surface, appears good, but is not ultimately God's best for you right now. As you mature in your faith and deepen your walk with God, you will likely begin to recognize these moments of divine protection more clearly. They serve as constant reminders of God's vigilant presence and His unwavering commitment to leading you toward the abundant life and the perfect future He has planned for you. Allow His protection to strengthen your resolve to trust Him even more profoundly, secure in the knowledge that His plans, even the ones that involve waiting or redirection, are always for your good. The fifth and perhaps most significant divine intervention in the Rizzi right person wrong time scenario is God using the situation specifically to teach you to trust Him completely. The psalmist urges us, trust in Him at all times, O people, pour out your hearts to Him, God is our refuge. Psalm 6:2-8. Situations where our deepest desires and the apparent reality of circumstances are mismatched create fertile ground for faith to grow. When things feel uncertain, when the timing seems unequivocally off despite a connection that feels right, God is often using that precise tension to call you to a deeper level of faith, a faith that leans not on your own understanding, your ability to manipulate outcomes, or your desire for immediate gratification, but solely on His perfect wisdom, His sovereign control, and His unwavering faithfulness. This kind of radical trust is not easy. It is forged in the crucible of uncertainty and tested by the pain of waiting. But it is precisely this kind of trust that strengthens your relationship with God and helps you build a spiritual foundation resilient enough to withstand any challenge life or future relationships may bring. It is often in these moments of deepest uncertainty, when our own plans are thwarted and the future feels unclear, that God most powerfully reveals Himself and His faithfulness. He reminds you that He is the one who knows what's best, that His perspective is perfect, and that His plans are ultimately designed for your flourishing. Here, trusting God completely means consciously choosing to let go of your need for control, your frantic attempts to fix the timing, and surrendering the entire situation, with all its unknowns and frustrations, into His capable hands. When you choose to trust God completely in this situation, it doesn't mean that all feelings of doubt, frustration, or longing magically disappear. you are still human, but it does mean that you make the deliberate choice to take those very real, sometimes painful, feelings and place them directly into His hands. As Psalm 6:2-8 encourages, you pour out your heart to Him, every confusion, every disappointment, every hope. And as you do, you open yourself to receiving His profound peace, comfort, and guidance in return. Thus, trusting God's timing in relationships in this profound way is not a single decision, but an ongoing process. It grows step by step, moment by moment, with each decision you make to rely on Him rather than your own limited understanding or anxious efforts. As you practice this complete reliance on God through the waiting and the uncertainty, you will begin to discern His hand at work in ways you might not have noticed before. You'll start to see how He is subtly orchestrating circumstances, shaping events, and perhaps most importantly, shaping you. You will begin to understand, perhaps only in hindsight, how He was working everything together for your good, even when the path felt unclear or the timing felt undeniably wrong. This process of learning to trust God completely in the realm of relationships is also crucial preparation for what God has planned for your future. By depending on Him now, by learning to walk by faith and not by sight in this potentially challenging situation, you are building spiritual muscles that will be absolutely essential for navigating any future relationships and embracing the blessings He brings into your life. God is not just concerned with who you might end up with. He is profoundly concerned with who you are becoming. He is shaping your character, deepening your faith, and ensuring that you are truly ready, internally and spiritually, for the next chapter He has in store for you. Trust that His timing and His purpose are infinitely greater, wiser, and more loving than anything you could ever plan or achieve on your own. Learning to trust God completely in the face of seemingly misaligned timing can also have a transformative effect on your prayer life and your moment-by-moment awareness of His presence. When you consciously choose to rely on Him with something as significant as a potential relationship, you invite Him into the most intricate and vulnerable details of your life. This active invitation allows Him to guide you, protect you, and minister to you in profound ways. Your trust becomes a living testimony of His goodness and faithfulness, not only strengthening your own faith journey, but also potentially inspiring others who observe your peace and reliance on God amidst uncertainty. In time, perhaps months or even years from now, you will likely look back on this season of wrestling with meeting the right person wrong time, and see with clarity how God was using it all. You will understand how He was patiently teaching you to trust Him on a deeper level than you thought possible, preparing you not just for a relationship, but for the fullness of the abundant life He intends for you. This profound lesson in complete trust is His way of ensuring that, when you do step into the next chapter He has prepared, you will do so with a foundation of unwavering faith, ready to embrace His best for you with confidence and gratitude. Navigating the confusing experience of meeting someone who feels like the right person when the circumstances suggest it is the wrong time, is undeniably challenging. It tests our patience, stretches our faith, and confronts our desire for control. Yet, through the lens of faith, we can see that these moments are often potent examples of this divine intervention. They are opportunities to experience the inexplicable peace of God found through prayer, confirmations that God is actively preparing both individuals during necessary transition periods, invitations to find freedom and guidance by letting go of our need for control, assurances of God's loving protection, guiding us along His path, and profound lessons in developing complete and unwavering trust in His sovereign plan. As God's timing relationships is always perfect, even when it looks nothing like the timeline we envisioned. Embrace the season you are in. Lean into the lessons God is teaching you. Find peace in His presence, and trust that He is working all things together for your good and for His glory. If this exploration into God's timing relationships, divine intervention, and the mystery of meeting the Ezra's right person wrong time has resonated with you, if it has offered you a glimmer of hope or a shift in perspective, we encourage you to engage further. Perhaps you have experienced one of these divine interventions in your own life, a time when the timing felt wrong, but God's hand was clearly at work. Sharing your story could be an encouragement to countless others walking through similar seasons of confusion and waiting. We invite you to simply share which of the 5 points: finding peace through prayer, recognizing transitions, letting go of control, sensing God's protection, or learning to trust completely, speaks most directly to your current situation or a past experience. What did that specific aspect teach you about trusting God's timing in relationships? If this message has blessed you, please consider leaving a like on this video to help spread this message of faith and hope. Your comments sharing your thoughts and experiences below are a valuable source of encouragement and community for everyone watching. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Pure Inspirational for more faith-based insights, reflections, and encouragement to help you navigate life's journey with unwavering trust in God's perfect plan. Be blessed, and remember that you are always held securely in His loving hands.